Everybody always ends up asking me about guitar questions, but the goals really shouldn't be the guitar. The goals really should be music. The guitar is the thing you play it on, but nobody ever spends any time looking at the elements of music. They never spend any time on melody. Most guitarists don't even really know what a melody is, or rhythm, or harmony, or space, or dynamics, or any of these things. It's just more like, what pedal do I buy so I can sound like somebody? Or how do I pick fast? Or how do I, you know, improvise or whatever? But those things are a byproduct of stuff that you need to take care of that falls under that umbrella of music and not the guitar. And even to do that, you have to also get your act together away from the instrument, so your act on the instrument is better. So why nobody ever considers this stuff is a little beyond me. Uh, it's the most important thing, probably rhythm, when something happens. I mean, yeah, it's tempo, it's meter, the feel of the song, it's the time signatures, it's eighth notes and rests. Those are the measurements of it. But they're huge. They're huge. Um, I mean, even away from the instrument, everything to how the planets move, to the water, the tides coming in and out, to your heart beating. If that rhythm isn't together, a lot of bad stuff could happen. Showing up for work on time, showing up for a gig on time. In addition to tempo, like those things, are, should be considered too. But almost all music I hear now has a weak rhythm. I think that's probably why it doesn't have the impact. A lot of music that, stands the test of time and people still want to hear after decades or even hundreds of years usually has some sort of strong rhythmic element to it. Um, I actually believe that it's because we don't live our lives with any kind of rhythm anymore either. Nobody walks anywhere. Walking is rhythm, you know. Everyone drives or gets a ride or whatever. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you have no choice. If you've got a gig 100 miles away, it's a long walk. You're going to be late. But we don't need to drive everywhere. We don't need to drive our garbage to the curb. We don't need to, you know, drive to the corner to get milk all the time. Just use your feet once in a while, right? Um, I'm not against convenience. There's nothing wrong with it. But think about that. Riding a bike is rhythmic. You can go back to doing that, and that can actually help your rhythm. Those little things you do. Um, Dialing your friend's phone number when we used to dial numbers used to be a kind of a rhythmic and a little bit of a melodic exercise. Remember, your friend's phone number would have a certain melody or rhythm. Now you just press that app on your phone and away you go. Again, convenient, just not very rhythmic. Good dialogue and conversation has a profound set of rhythm to it. Do you even hear people speak to each other anymore? I don't. Uh, I haven't seen, two people talking at a coffee shop in a long time without something in their hands. I'm sure there's a weird little peculiar set of rhythms to that too, but it's kind of not what I'm after here. I'm after something a little deeper, but also relics from the ago, including, chopping wood was very rhythmic. Doing smoke signals, banging your clothes against a rock to wash it, um, using a handsaw, cutting your food, dancing at a nightclub, tanning leather, digging a ditch. You really want to know where that backbeat probably came from that powered blues and jazz. Throw that shovel in. It probably had something to do with that. I bet. I can't prove that, but it's possible. We're learning this together. So all that stuff was really, really very, very rhythmic. So all the indigenous tribal music, it was all rhythm. Very, if any chord changes at all, some of it had no chords, some of it had no harmony, but damn it, it had rhythm. right? The very first time somebody banged stones together or beat their hands on their knees, it was rhythm to start with, you know. But with these conveniences, stuff's really started to slide. All of us will have our own idea of what decade it started to unravel in. Some people will say the 50s with the advent of washing machines and things like that. I might say it was, the 80s with digital technology. It's always something in your lifetime that you have a concept of, but I don't know. I like convenience. I'm talking to you through a wireless internet on a laptop. I have an MP3 player with lots of songs on it. Convenience isn't horrible. I don't suggest going off the grid and building a shack and using stone tools and hunting bison and eating pemmican, whatever that is. Just don't be afraid to turn off your smartphone once in a while and take a walk. That stuff helps your rhythm. It does. I know. People want an exercise. They want tablature. They want to be able to buy a product. And I don't know if that's the case. And guitar players, I'm a guitar player. Why does nobody work on rhythm guitar? You're going to be playing it at least 90% of the time. But they don't even consider it when they go to the internet cruising for lessons. It never comes up in the guitar lesson repertoire. There's lots of scales, modes, exercises, and things like that. They're all probably valuable, but no rhythm guitar? Really? Okay, I won't call you for a gig if you don't work on it. Rhythm's not just for drummers. Sax players and singers and melody writers and authors and painters kind of need to consider rhythm too. But working on it, again, I'm not going to suggest exercises or tablature. I suggest people get weirded out. They want the quick fix. But I suggest chopping some onions, grating some cheese, and making an omelet. I don't know. You get the idea. I'm probably beating this premise into the ground a bit, but use a pencil once in a while, dial a phone number once in a while, chop food once in a while, cycle to the market. It's good exercise. You get fresh air. It builds rhythm. And maybe, I don't know, I just suspect that stuff just might have an osmotic approach to rhythm. Sit by the water once in a while, listen to the waves. And, picking up if you want to do it on the instrument, pick up your instrument and jam along to something really grooving, something that has a strong pulse. Listen to the meters or Booker T and the MGs, just something with some funk or some R&B or some soul or something with some space too. It doesn't all have to be fast tempo stuff. Like even Pink Floyd groove, even though the tempos were quarter note equals 55. It still had a groove. Right? It doesn't help. It doesn't hurt, rather. Time, rhythm,